at this point, we'll go ahead and work through this. So when you have a problem like this, no matter what, whether you factor it or don't factor it, you always have to set this equal to 0. So subtract 7, you'll get 3x squared plus 2x minus 2 is equal to 0. And again, you would probably want to try to factor, at the very least, look at the answers and see which one's going to dictate the quadratic formula or not. This does not factor, or at least I don't think it does. And by saying I don't think it does, meaning you can't factor it. I shouldn't say it doesn't factor, but you won't be able to do it. So use the quadratic formula. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. It never ceases to amaze me that people find this section difficult, because this is no different than everything you've done plugging in numbers into a formula before, right? I mean, basically this is just evaluate given a, b, and c. Okay, so don't think of it anything different than that. It's negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 2 squared is 4. Negative 4 times 3 is negative 12 times negative 2 is positive 24. All over 6. Okay? Which is negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 28 over 6. And if you leave it right there, you're wrong. Why? Well, the square root of 28 breaks down. The square root of 28 is 4 times 7. So the square root of 28 is 2 square roots of 7 over 6. And at this point, we can separate it out as negative 2 over 6 plus or minus 2 square roots of 7 over 6. Reducing that, we get negative 1/3 plus or minus square root of 7 over 3. Anytime you have a fraction where you have a binomial or a trinomial over a monomial, multiple terms on the top, one term on the bottom, you can split those multiple terms up into multiple pieces using the same denominator. Okay? All right, that's the quadratic formula. I would memorize that for the final exam. I'm not for sure that it's on the final exam, but I would bet a very large amount of money that quadratic formula and domain are both on the final exam. Why? Both of them are very critical to your success next semester. So because of their how critical they are to your success next semester, you can almost guarantee it's going to be on the final. Okay. By the way, so is factoring. Factoring is pretty important. I would say there's probably some fractions, yes. Okay. All right. With that being said,